I can do whatever I want. I'll get him, too, with Pinchy.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Now this video may be a surprise to you guys, but today I'm going to be going over my current favorite episode from the CGI era of Thomas and Friends. And today's episode comes from season 20 and it's called Henry Gets the Express. Now right off the bat, this episode fixes a lot of the issues that I had with prior seasons of Thomas and Friends. An example would be season 18's episode Toad's Adventure. Right off the bat with this episode, we get a nice shot of Tidmouth's sheds. The lighting is very, very nice. The engines have that shine coming off their boiler. I also love the music in this opening shot. Just take a listen for yourself.
Early one morning, all the engines were leaving Tidmouth's sheds to start work on the railway.
I also want to point out that I love the voice actor who portrays Gordon. I feel like he has a fantastic performance in this episode.
Uncouple me at once. I'm going back to my shed.
But I honestly can't say the same for Henry. He is probably the character that I have the biggest problem with when it comes to his voice and how he's meant to be portrayed in the CGI series. I feel like he is not serious enough. I feel like he's kind of too goofy. And so it's hard for me to take Henry seriously sometimes.
But that's my line. Hi, Gordon. Bye, Gordon.
And I know that comes down to personal preference, but I just don't enjoy how the CGI era portrayed Henry. I personally prefer when Henry is made out to be a big, strong, brave engine who's kind of stuck up, kind of stubborn, will go along with Gordon and James, but on his own he can be a gentle giant. But to be honest, my favorite portrayal of Henry is when Henry is portrayed as a bully. An example of this would be in the season 2 episode, Percy Takes the Plunge. When Henry tells Bill and Ben to get out of the sheds, I feel like that just fits Henry's character perfectly.
Silly things, Henry snorted. They are silly, and so are you.
But back to the episode. So Gordon was too tired to have his firebox cleaned out, and because of this, he's not able to pull the express on time. And that's when Thomas gives Sir Topham Hatt the idea to let Henry pull the express. And here we get another example of why this episode is so amazing. The score and the visuals of Henry puffing up Gordon's Hill with the express.
So Henry set off with the express.
And even though the background is just a green countryside, you can still see the textures of the grass and of the trees. There is just a significant improvement from just a few seasons ago. An example would be in season 18 where we really didn't have any of this. And in some shots, you can also see flowers beside the track, and so the episode itself is just very pleasant to look at all the way through. And not to mention, again, the engines having that beautiful shine on their boilers. So because Henry is pulling the express across the island for the day, Gordon now has to do Henry's jobs. And so another reason why I love this episode, I feel like Gordon doing the dirty work is straight out of the classic series. They even put in a reference for Gordon from his line in the episode Edward Helps Out from season 1.
A goods train. A goods train. Oh, the shame.
And can we talk about how amazing the panning shot of Gordon and Brendam Docks is? Another reason why I love this episode is because this episode is everywhere. We get to see so many locations, so many engines as well. I mean, in the Brendam Docks scene alone, we get to see Cranky, Salty, and Porter along with Gordon. The episode just feels very big in scale and is another reason why it's so fun to watch. I also love Gordon's reaction to Henry saying his line.
But that's my line. Hi, Gordon. Bye, Gordon.
And then I thought this scene was kind of funny. I love how fast Sir Topham Hatt just shuts down Gordon here.
Shouldn't I go back to pulling the express now, sir? Oh, no. Oh.
I also love that Philip is working in the yard in the background in that shot. And now we come to the Blue Mountain Quarry.
Look out there! Express! I mean, engine coming through!
And like I said earlier, this episode is so grand in scale. I love the fact that we get to see the narrow gauge engines in a Gordon-centered episode. And it's also funny how Gordon is thrown all across the island doing Henry's jobs, all because he was too tired to have his firebox cleaned out.
Hello there, Gordon. Is your day going well?
As well as any day hauling coal and stone can be.
And so I love the interaction between Gordon and Reneus. I feel like we never got enough of Gordon and the small railway engines in this series. And then we get this absolute gem of a scene and voice performance of Gordon.
Uncouple me at once. I'm going back to my shed.
And so for the episode having so much going on and having so many characters, it flows very well. It's a very fun watch. And so that's what makes it so memorable for me, and I immediately knew I had to make a video on it. And so we're back at Tidmouth Sheds, and Gordon is not happy, but I love how Sir Topham Hatt treats him here.
You didn't even finish your jobs today. You must learn to do the jobs you're asked to do.
I love how Gordon has sort of dug himself into a hole this entire episode, and he is not giving up. He is not giving into doing the dirty work, doing Henry's jobs. He just wants to pull the express, but of course, now he has to pull the flying kipper.
I will not pull a smelly fish train. No!
I think the best part about this scene is the fact that Gordon's ego is always on display, whether he's comparing himself to the other engines, like James for example, or when he's refusing to do certain jobs. I really love this portrayal of Gordon, and the voice actor for Gordon does an absolutely fantastic job in this episode.
I think you'll find I'm much bigger and stronger than James.
I love that in order to redeem himself, Gordon has to pull the train that's the complete opposite of the Express, the Flying Kipper. And how can I not mention the scenery here? We get great shots of Tidmouth Sheds, whether it's at nighttime or in the morning time. The lighting is so nice in this episode, I can't express it enough. And I love the wide shots we get of Tidmouth Sheds. They really made an effort to flesh out the yard. And so the episode ends with Gordon redeeming himself as he goes off to have a much needed washdown. And so the only problems I have with this episode really isn't this episode's fault, it's just the CGI series' fault as a whole. I just don't like the goofy side of Henry. I feel like he crosses the line of being too goofy and too kiddish in the CGI series.
Stinky Express coming through!
They are silly, and so are you.
Like I said, I prefer it when he is more quiet, more stuck up, more stubborn, sometimes even a bully, but that's just my preference. Because whenever I hear that version of Henry, I just cringe.
No!
At the end of the day, if you are not a fan of CGI Thomas and Friends, I highly recommend giving this episode a watch. Gordon is absolutely amazing in this episode, and I feel like he's the series' strongest character at this point in the show. And the visuals and lighting are much improved from previous seasons. So not only is the episode visually pleasing to watch, we also get to see so many different characters and places across the island of Sodor. The Blue Mountain Quarry and the narrow gauge engines was a much welcome surprise. And if you don't believe me, just know that I pretty much only watch the classic seasons, and even I love this episode. And if you still need convincing, just go watch the episode for yourself. I guarantee you will love it. And so we've come to the end of the video. Let me know what you guys think about this type of video in the comment section below, and let me know if you want to see more of these types of videos on my channel. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments section below what you think about this episode and if you love it as much as I do. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Uncouple me at once. I'm going back to my shed.